back. We are back. We are going to continue work with creating Spelljammer tokens. Give me a moment for me to check my signal. Make sure I'm going through clear. It sounds okay. I think my volume needs to bump. Nah, that's good. Alright, Groove. If you follow me on Twitter, I've just posted that I'm live on Twitter, so hey. And give me a moment here for me to kick through some of the other Discord channels where I hang out, sharpen my knives, etc. The Spelljammer Discord and Drive Through RPG, DMsGuild, Indestructible Boys Designosphere. There's Zod's new channel. Trent Monk, as always, fantastic stuff, and Dungeoneers Pack, Pretty Fried Mini, and Zipperon, and Clear It Corner, Rich Mary. I'm almost done here, folks. Hey, you know what? I'll go through my spiel here in a second. Seconds worth of spiels. Hold on. Neat. Happy. Command project. Boop. And then down here. All right, here's the book cover that we created. We built this on stream. It's in the Spelljammer playtest. Probably, I think, like episode 10, I want to say. I'm not positive. Go ahead and check through the playlist and you can see where it's there. But that's our cover that we built. Obviously, it's implying a lot of grappling going on between ships, which we have in spades. So right now we've been working on the Solar Dragon token. We shouldn't have much difficulty finishing it. It's looking at the reference material here. There's obviously these like plasma wings that the thing has on top of its fin arms. So I want to make sure I pay homage to that. So we're just gonna fiddle with fire for a while, and that's what we're gonna do. So. We got my tea. All right, so I build things on DMsGuild, you know, this Spelljammer Combat Exploration book. I developed mechanics here on stream. I then ship them off. In this case, to Adam Hancock, who's my editor, and he builds he cleans up the edits. Then when we get it back, we finish out the document. Once the document text is finished, we drop it into a layout program, and we'll do that here on stream, do the layout of the book, so we know how all the text sits on the page. And then from there, we pull whether you know the gaps that are in the text in the page. We pull that out as a PDF, drop it back here into Photoshop, and then we paint. We paint illustrations to fill those gaps. This is something I showed off a while ago. If you aren't familiar with it already, it cannot be seen. So just look again at what we've got going on. Test tokens, trash, cover. There you go. Like we built this on stream. Like I want to say 4 sessions ago for like 5 sessions worth of painting. So we built this this Scaver Writer thing. So now we can drop this into the document wherever, like in the back end, when we start talking about unnatural creatures and how they move through wild space, we can drop this in there as a reference. So tokens, these are all, I think this is how big is this? There you go. It's a 481 pixel token. So it'll sit fine at as a 4x4 or as a single 1 square in Roll20, which is the virtual tabletop that I use and will probably continue to use regardless of what 1D&D does. So we've got this going for us. Let's see if we can create some solar wind effects. Getting over COVID, so forgive all my hopefully it won't affect you where you're at. I'm going to bump this up to 70% and just literally play with fire for a bit. don't like the space constraints that we're working with here, but it is what it is. So I'm going to actually hopefully that's the more tea in my system. Get the Haganaga out of my heart. There. This is Thursday, so I'm doing some Spelljammer tokens this morning. I'm going to be on this evening for some more Eberron cartography for the adventure that we've been writing. I should be on in about 13 hours for more Eberron cartography. We finished the topside entrance, so we have both the fort ruins, the flooded fort, as well. Now the topside entrance are done, which means we get to move into the cemetery, which is a big piece. It is a 52 by 54 map. But luckily, we have all the language that we've spent 20 hours developing for this adventure. We have a common language that we now have developed for the texture and the color for the different surfaces that are in the dungeons, the ruins, and these are topside entrances. The flood fort, the cemetery. These are surface dungeon maps, like they're ruins, so you can maneuver through them from anyway, I'm using words and they're difficult right now. So forgive me that. That is to say that in 13 hours we'll be back. We'll be doing more cartography in Eberron. We're starting in on our third map, which is the cemetery, which is big. It's got a lot of structure, a lot of stonework, as well as a lot of water and fun little graves that are dug up. All sorts of fun stuff. Frack. Hold on. There. That's what we needed. Merge tap. There. Now we got some stuff going on here. Hey, how you doing? Sassendrix, I don't think I've ran across you before, man. I do stream early. Another part of the world. I am in Seattle. So I have a day job. It's a work from home gig. It's computer stuff. So I have the fortune of being able to work on art when I first wake up in the morning with my first cup of brew. Cheers to you. We do this for a couple hours, and then I log off and I get to start my day of, corporate servitude. Pay unto Caesar what is Caesar's. So I find I find it's a lot better than trying to get through. Well, if I don't do creative stuff in the morning, I find that I'm pining for it all day. So so if I get some creative juices out in the morning, it satiates me so that I can focus on the day job that I'm fortunate enough to be able to do from home, and I can put in my 8 hours of due, and then once that is complete, I can log out and I can dive into either back into this, or if it's a family day, dive into my family. So yeah, thanks for thanks for the shout out. It's I was born at 5 o'clock in the morning. If you're on a Tuesday, if you're the type of person to believe in these sort of things, that means that I am most up and atom and okey doke in the early at the beginning of the day. So opinions may vary on how legitimate that sort of I don't know what word I'm looking for. The word that I want is, God, there's words that I want to use, and they are superstition. Thank you. It's superstitions can be fun, but they shouldn't be controlling your life. So, but I like it as a simple explanation as to why I could just bounce out of bed and jump on stream for a couple hours before actually making my day happen. I don't know if I'm going to end up liking how these wings are working at all, honestly. I'm gonna hide that one. So when we look at the reference document here, the Solar Dragon obviously has wings that it's created. I hate how large wings are in comparison to the art space that we always have available to us. So screw you, Oofus. So I want to maybe drop the dragon down a touch in size. What do you got going on? I've also been lucky enough to have a WFH situation. Currently doing a data audit. Nice. Makes sense. Back when I was a kid, we had a general rule of thumb that if you would want to get some game achievement, do it in the morning. Only time anyone ever managed invincibility in GoldenEye. Nice shout back. Your old PS, when the mind is nice and fresh, not bogging down by the day. Yes, absolutely. It's I can grind math and stuff on the computer. That's fine, but my creative space is holy. So let's try this again. Yeah, so we're building out this Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book. And when we did a lot of gap filling that was left over from 5e without just converting it from 2nd edition. I mean, mad respect to people that trolled through all the Spelljammer books for what could be relevant in 5e and to sally forth with that information. But I really like how 5e was an opportunity to sort of reframe the campaign setting. And it's, I mean, true to WotC's form, their 5e is all about rulings, not rules, and inspiring flavor instead of setting canon. And of course, the mechanics that they provided were just enough to get done the adventure that they provided for us. But obviously, the most significant complaint is the lack of technical details that are inside of the 3 books. So we, using our sensibilities, we reformatted how 5e works to serve our purposes. And we've got a lot of the earlier stream shows like how we're translating the mechanics of combat into the 500 and 50-foot scale, as well as the 1 mile and 10 mile. The whole combat and exploration book that we're going to be publishing on DMsGuild, it is, well, you can check in the description down below. Go through the Patreon link to the playtest document that we still have up from the alpha version of this. So we build initial mechanics, we start playtesting it, and we publish what those general mechanics are for people to get a gist of how this thing works. And then as we go through the playtesting, we refine the document and the specific rules. So what is currently in the playtest document is not cutting edge for Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. It's kind of an agreement that you have on the DMs Guild that you don't actually publish the stuff that you're publishing elsewhere. So I can have the basic mechanics of how this system works available for folks in a document that's free to view. But it is not the final language, it is not the formatting. So we can it's not even a loophole. It's just playtesting. So you can check out, you don't have to be a member of my Patreon, but obviously joining is appreciated, but more importantly, the link to the alpha document is still out there for folks to take a look at, like how do we work with scaling, A lot of the book is about movement and visibility of objects at different ranges. The orrery that they presented in 5e was a very simple magic device that gives you a quick quote-unquote overland map of significant planetary bodies that are in a Spelljammer wild space system once you enter it from Astral Sea. But that's kind of where it ends, and it has no real... like so much of D&D 5e, there's no actual rules behind why the things work the way that they do. It's just things that they know that were needed to make an adventure happen and for you to be able to get from point A to point B. So they built a very basic, some very basic magic items, helms and orreries, to help navigate and interact with the space. But that's as far as they needed to go for you to get the gist of what it is, which is always unsatisfying when you're spending 60 some odd bucks on a book or something. It's just people expect more craft put into the book than what Wizards currently does. So that's where third-party content producers like myself come in. We build these, we build the gaps, we fill those in. So I'll keep rambling about it in a moment. Give me a moment. I've always been assassin who provided rules. I provide rulings. Exactly. Rulings are easier when there are rules. Third edition was fantastic in that it codified a ton of stuff. Like it made it real easy to figure out design challenges. It made it real easy to be able to build out like magic items. It had extensive rules on the creation of magic items. So when a DM wanted to create a new magic item, you could just reference all the mechanics that went into the price structuring of different types of objects, whether they're single use or weapons, armor. If they're a wondrous magic item or they're a per use item, all that sort of stuff was heavy coded in 3E, and which is so weird because Wizards is the same company that created 3E. It's like their directive was make it as not crunchy and narrative focused as possible, which is they obviously achieved that. I don't necessarily. I think 4E was overly technical, and to the point where it was so samey that it felt kind of, it had this bland feel to it. Like everything was too, what's the word? Sterile. It was too sterile, and anytime D&D leans away from multi-classing, I think you're in for a bad ride. So when they came back in with 5E, they got, boy, at the initial blush, 5E feels like first and second edition. But the more you dive into it, it's just very, like first and second, first edition, like old box set was, what it did was it codified dungeon progression. Like what is a step of processes that the DM can follow to lead characters from one turn into the next, because old school D&D was measured in turns that were 10 minutes long, 6 turns per hour. And every hour you had to rest, otherwise you started being penalized moving through the dungeon. You'd move slower, you'd have worse checks. So it was a very procedurally generated effect where the DM was basically an analog computer processing random results that would help breathe, make the dungeon breathe from round to round or turn to turn. So like where are creatures moving through spaces, what's the alert status of different guards, you know, if there's a timing trap, what is the timing on that trap currently. Like old school D&D calculated all that stuff through the Dungeon Master making die rolls, because we didn't have a computer to process all that stuff. If this stuff had been developed now, I think it would just be it could just be a button pressed, and that tells you the troop movement for like guards and random encounters and all that yada yada would just process into it automatically without needing a DM to crunch them, to crunch the math or run the variables for you. So 5e stripped all that out. So it has like the loose chassis of first edition, but without any of the DM tools to procedurally generate a campaign world from turn to turn that then allows the players fill in the fun, if that makes any sense. So having lost those tools from the past 30, 40 some odd years, it's kind of up to we who remember to kind of breathe that stuff back into what current D&D is. The OSR solution was the bail. We don't like what 3E is doing. We have no need for it. We're just going to stay with the old system. 4E reinvented the mechanical balance for characters, but kind of lost the gonzo heart of what, like the spontaneous improvisational feeling of what first and second edition was. So 5E kind of restored that improvisation, but threw out all the hard mechanics that provided a stable base to have all of those improvisation, role playing, and weird traps and yada yada. That amount of the amount of rules that go into making good rulings was left on the editing floor. So that's what this book is doing. It's invigorating the set mechanics that 5E, like 5E offered little nuggets of ideas. So a lot of good 5E design on the DM's Guild or elsewhere perhaps is breaking down the different components that were provided in the 5E tools and extrapolating from them duplicatable models that you can then create new things from that match the same scaling that sits inside 5E. And we started this process with Descent into Avernus when we began the In Command project last year. And we had gotten to the point where we were figuring out vehicle mechanics for Descent into Avernus for the Infernal War Machines. And we figured out, because there are no rules behind the Infernal War Machines themselves. Like there's four different types of vehicles that are offered, but there literally is no pattern to the stats that they have, which was when I realized that 5E is really just not providing rules to base rulings upon at all in these expanded pieces. They come up with neat ideas, like Mad Max and Hell is a cool idea, but they didn't have the mechanical depth needed to properly execute it, so you could effectively build your own Mad Max campaign in Hell. And there's been a few, very, very few offerings on DM's Guild about building your own Infernal War Machines, but there's no real duplicatable pattern that was being offered. It was just more options without a hard baseline for what those options came from. So we've developed those basic mechanics for creating your own trucks. and then Spelljammer happened, and we're like, well, we can extrapolate all these truck mechanics because we built a pattern of structure to create trucks with. We could then extend that pattern to larger scale, like truck scaling fit within a 5-foot to 50-foot scale. And when Spelljammer came out, all we had to do is further extrapolate those truck mechanics so that Spelljammer vehicles are just basically giant trucks, like space trucks. So we then were able to extrapolate the vehicle mechanics into the Spelljammer mechanics, and then we're like, well, at this 500-foot scale that these ships operate inside of, the gap now is between 5 feet and 500 feet. There's that 50-foot gap that you have to fill, that trucks on Infernal War Machines fill, but in space that becomes fighter crafts. So of all the different products that have come out on DM's Guild and Patreon and third party and stuff, a massive gap for 5e is the fighter ship, where you're jumping in an X-wing or a Viper ship or whatever. It's like, well, we were able to convert the Descent into Avernus truck mechanics into small craft mechanics, which then extrapolated into like riders on the back of Kandori or space sharks with lances, and so we just continue to backfill. We were able to build up from trucks into ships and then back down from ships into creatures, and all the mechanics still work smoothly and just fluidly. So I've been neglecting my chat. What's going on, buddy? Who could destroy a planet? Oh, I see. Yeah, 3E was great for that. There was rules for everything, so it was easy to rule against it. Right. The only thing it didn't manage was good gaming balance. Had a friend make a level 7 character who could destroy a planet. That feels like 3E to me. And of course, that was the problem with Pathfinder First Edition, is that it just picked up. It inherited the mechanics from 3E and just continued playing them out. And so Pathfinder was grueling, but excuse me. But again, at the time, it was the hottest shit on the street. Like 3E was revolutionary in the way that it built out, like it was character deck building, which is exactly what I say that frequently. It's my joke about 3E is that it's Wizards of the Coast with the world's most popular deck building game, managed to find a way to make deck building out of characters, and that's the prestige classes, where you're adding in more levels as your character grows to build more and more specialized solutions to whatever action economy loop or action loop it is, like whatever role it is that the character would play. 3E basically allowed you, again, to build a deck around a character, specializing in that one simple win condition that you can create with the deck that you build of your character. And a good party had a number of characters or decks that were capable of creating solutions that would that created different win cons for your team. So depending on what the challenge was, you would just try to line up what win conditions are the characters specialized at, and how does this encounter fit into those conditions. That character takes the lead. That's the development of your skill monkey, your cleric or druid of destruction, the martial Cuisinart, shredding opponents. Like, we all had our specialized roles depending on what our characters would do, and then we would just try to filter in what is this encounter, what is this challenge of this adventure, and what character is best equipped with the stats to hit the challenge rating numbers to succeed in the effort. And that's what third edition was. So, and yeah, but it was very unbalanced. It's because there was so much product that could synergize so well. You could take Savage Species, Magic of Incarnum, the Dungeoneers, Complete Dungeoneers Handbook, and Ancient Weapons, and Book of Nine Swords. Blend all that stuff together to build a Gish skill monkey sort of abomination that simply can't fail skill checks. So like, but figuring out how to blend all those things together. Like, if I can get 2d6 sneak attack from Book of Incarnum, by having having Gloves of the Assassin built into my hand chakras, I can. And then if I pick up the Shadow template from Savage Species, I can now access the Telflamar Shadow Pouncer prestige class, which every time I teleport allows me to make a new attack action for another 3 attacks. So if I can move action teleport, standard action teleport, bonus action teleport, swift action teleport, that's 4 full attacks I could make every time my character teleported. And now you've got all of these Nightcrawler teleportation combat Gish builds that are hitting the DM's Guild in like 2008. You know, like, I love that shit. Like, deck building your character into these crazy character tropes. Like, there's no other way. There's no edition of D&D that lets you build those kind of characters like 3E could. And for that, we love 3E because it really just let you dive into these insane character expressions because of how complicated combat was in 3E. it allowed us to extrapolate that same amount of depth and precision into any kind of character that we wanted to express. And it was amazing. Just building characters was its own game. And it pulled in a lot of theory crafters that were really into that stuff, and it really helped build the D&D community. And again, 4E codified it and got rid of the prestige classes to put a cap on these crazy broken builds. And then 5E reinterpreted prestige classes in that building game, and it basically distilled it down into archetypes, where you only get one prestige class and you decide it early on, and that is how the rest of your character is going to play out. And then the only option that became left was magic items, feats, and if you're lucky enough to have them, spell selections. So that's where all the design inspiration then pours into building custom archetypes, because there was no path for building prestige classes using standard 5e anymore. Like there's a couple options for prestige classes, one of which is what I've built, but it hadn't really caught I don't think it's really caught the imagination of any third-party developer in going back into prestige classes now that archetypes exist. So I think that's a space that has a lot of room for growth in 5e. Like, if I were to ever bother creating my own 5e compliant tabletop game, it would reintroduce prestige classes for sure. It'd also be like an E6 10 level progression, and then maybe even 5. Once your level caps out below 20th, then you start taking like prestige feats to start building in these prestige class ideas. So you have a very small scaffold that builds, and then you cap out on your hit points, but then all your specialization starts coming in from the prestige boons and prestige feats that you take to further buff out your character. I'm a huge E6 fan. Like E6, where your character never gets above 6th level, but the threats keep getting bigger. Like I've had characters that were taking on like hives of beholders at 6th level. They get slaughtered, but that's the challenges that they were going after they hit 6th level and stacked on, 8-10 feats of toughness and added spell slots and like smite damage and all this other stuff. They start stacking up their characters heavy, and they're like, okay, yeah, we can take on a CR 10 something, maybe no. But that was the challenge, building your character up and attempting to tackle creatures that were far above your CR. That's like the whole fun of E6 campaigns, because there's just 2/3 of the monster manual is stuff that's just going to outright freaking kill you at that point, if that's the kind of campaign you're going to play. It's a slaughterhouse, and you know that going in. So being like that first edition, smart strategizing and using your environment to your advantage became really critical, and it was super fun being able to pull that into the 3E experience. And it works on 5E as well. You can just convert anything above 6th level, like all the prestige, all the archetypes and stuff, into boon feats that you can acquire in a scaling structure. Like if there's 4 levels where you gain class features from an archetype, then at 6th level you'd have access to one, maybe most likely one. I don't think there's any instance where there's 2. Yeah, the artificer gets one at 3 and 5. The ranger gets one at 3 and 7 for the ranger. So I think the artificer is the only one that actually gets 2 of those feats. No, wait, wizard 2 and 6, and so druid 2 and 6. There you go. So like you get 2 of them, but 2 of them you never get access to. But if you take those 2 archetypes, then you get like the 11th and the 17th later. And then you can loop back around and take another archetype from level 3, 6, 14, like 3, 6, 11, and 14. You could gain another, and then another, and then another, and then another archetype. So you can just stack archetypes on top of your character chassis. I love that style of game. I have ran years worth of that game in 5e, and it's super fun. So that if I were to build my own RPG, I would probably lean into that very small mechanical benefits to your character's stats, but then having continuing stacking more and more specialized options that don't really get stronger mathematically, but just continue to broaden your base so you can do more and more things, or take one particular nugget and then dive into it so you can do more and more specialized things with it. Like the Master of Many Hands is a telekinesis master. So once you get access to any kind of telekinesis doesn't really get any better, but you get more and more options for things that you can do with telekinesis during different types of action economy, of bonus actions, standard actions, swift actions, movement, all that stuff. It's kind of like with the Telfamar Telfamar Shadow Pouncers, kind of has that same vibe, except it's for telekinesis. So like if you say take the ghost template, so your character is your race is a ghost, and you take the telekinesis option for your ghost character, that gives you access to Master of the Unseen Hand, like almost immediately. So you can start doing specialized telekinesis stuff through your ghost abilities, not spellcasting, which is another, again, it's another really cool way to build your deck, your character. So anyway, that's the idea. What we got going on here? Yep, Book of Nine Swords. Hell yes, Book of Nine Swords. I've actually, if you're new to my channel, on Mondays I have a stream that's called Martial Powers, and it's basically it's basically reimagining the Book of Nine Swords for martial classes using 5th edition. Most of the techniques in Book of Nine Swords is really redundant. Like it all kind of boils down to advantage on attack plus d6 to attack damage, that kind of stuff. Like because a lot of the mechanics, 3E is a lot more granular than 5E. So when you scale back the amount of mechanical complexity that's inside of the Book of Nine Swords into 5E, you lose a lot of mechanical, like the flavor disappears from those mechanics, because again, a lot of it just boils down to advantage plus d6 damage, that kind of stuff. It loses a lot of its heart because 5E is such a basic system. So instead of just translating all of the techniques that are in Book of Nine Swords, or like in the Martial Powers books from 4E, we're redefining action economy for martial characters in 5E to work inside of normal D&D. So none of the statistics of what I've been developing outscale what's already present for characters inside 5E. It kind of allows you to shuffle again what tools you get access to, and so like you can take powers to make you a skill monkey character. You can take powers to make you a control specialist, limiting character option movement. You can become a reaction specialist, having a lot of different types of reactions that you can take. So yada yada yada. That's on Mondays, and it's I think it's like into its 38th episode now. So if you check the playlist for Martial Powers, you'll see the full development of that, building all the mechanics, building all the powers, building all the classes, all the reiterations of the subclass options, items, how creatures use it. We just finished doing representing different magic paradigms inside of the Martial Power system, and my current homework assignment before I won't be doing it this Monday because of the holiday. I'll be spending time with my gal. But on the 2nd, when we're back into Martial Powers, I'll have had an opportunity to clean up a lot of the mechanics that are present there that just need to be updated from the playtesting that I do with my 17th level weekly lunchtime team. And they've been pushing back against a lot of the different mechanical ideas that are in there currently. So that document gets to evolve, and so we'll fill that in and have those new details and start exploring things like how do you ignore the Berserker class feature, the pre-written, like the rules as written Berserker. How do you ignore that and instead build a Berserker concept using these different powers that we've been developing for, say, the Barbarian, or for the Fighter, or for maybe the Ranger? Like how can we take the powers that we built to express different subclass ideas? That's what we'll be doing on the 2nd. So, but there's like 80 hours of development on there already, because that's what we do. We develop books here on stream. We build the mechanics, and then once the mechanics are done, send them off to edits. When they come back from edits, we do page layout, and then we do the artwork to fill in the gaps of the pages, and then we publish it. And you'll see the whole thing being built here on stream. And on the DMs Guild, the entire book is 100% preview. I actually have a link down below to some of my DMs Guild work for the color mana system that I built for the MTG settings like Ravnica, Strixhaven, and Theros. I've got like 4 books of different types of spell point mechanics that can use color for for hardcore MTG enthusiasts, like Ravnica fans, like the Ravnica DMs subreddit. For example, that's where I'll go to sharpen my Ravnica knives. And but the point is that all those books are 100% preview. You can look through the entire books cover to cover to see how these mechanics work. So you can, it's like, yeah, I'm willing to spend $10 on this thing so that I can implement these things in my Ravnica or my Strixhaven campaign, because I'm an MTG fan and I want to use color mana mechanics to cast spells in my D&D game, and Wizards never got around to doing it, so it's up to me. If I don't do it, who is? No one has done it, so it was up to me to do it, so I did it. And that's kind of what I do. I find the things that Wizards won't invest development into doing, and I do them, and then I publish on the DMsGuild, because again, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. So that's what we're doing with the Spelljammer book. We built out all the ship mechanics, but we built the ship mechanics to use 5e combat system mechanics. So piloting a ship or a like a starfighter feels pretty much exactly like running around as a character, beating up stuff and shooting arrows at things, basically, because you got ranged weapons. It's like it's like everyone's like all these ships are like hack warlocks. Like everyone's got their Eldritch Blast, and you can fly your ship around and Eldritch Blast at things. Or if your ship is big enough, like to have a gunboat crew, then you can command your siege machine crew, your siege crew, to make attacks with like ballistas and catapults and stuff while you're flying this gunboat around. And then it scales up to bigger and bigger ships. So I'm kind of liking this flame wing. I suspect though that it's going to overshadow. Yeah, it completely conceals most of this thing's body. So catching up. Hey, what's up, Onzi? Right on, Sin. Cesardrix. Best of luck to you. I hope it goes well. You can check it out when it's done, my dude. Do me a favor, like and subscribe, because YouTube hates this long form stuff. And me to be able to actually get out there, the only way it actually happens is if folks are willing to help boost me up. So any kindness towards liking, subscribing, and just watching hours of content, so I can get up to my 8,000 hours, or 4,000 hours worth of footage that I need to have viewed by people for YouTube to let me monetize. That's the greatest gift anyone can give me this Christmas, is just hours and subscription. So, Onzi, man, how you doing, my dude? We are continuing this Solar Dragon and trying to figure out. There's the base body of it, which I'm pretty happy with. But again, I want to get these wings in here. And I just absolutely hate limits on. I hate borders on tokens, Absolutely just absolutely enrages me. So I'm trying to trim these wings. I'd better duplicate this layer and then hit save. I finished the topside entrance map that I was working on yesterday. That was super easy to finish. So when I jump back on later on tonight, I will be working on the cemetery map. So we'll have the cemetery map, the underground map, and the village map, and then the little vignettes of like the haunted gazebo and stuff like that, like the tree of woe. the different little optional encounters that you can pepper in. I need to build little small, like 20 by 20 maps for those things. But having figured out all the texturing and coloring for the flooded fort and then into the topside end, it's really clipping along now. I am legit excited. So that is, I am looking forward to diving back into that later on tonight. But for now, we're building Solar Dragon plasma wings. They got these plasma wings going on here, so I want to have those integrated into my work as well. So I'm doing this color work here, but what I really need to be able to do is express it in a token in black and white. And I'm not necessarily sure. This dragon is proving to be the most difficult token I've done yet. It's because it's got a lot of elements going on. Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty good. Just gotta figure out this this plasma stuff, right? But I'll have the week of the 26th through the 2nd off work, off my day job. So I get to be, I love the Christmas break, Christmas holidays, because I get to pretend to be a full-time developer for just a little while. You know, I love that opportunity, and so I'll be able to really knock out a lot of these tokens, and get the maps finished. I'll just be able to get a shitload of work done for both of these projects, actually. So I'm very, very much looking forward to that. I'll have a lot of opportunity to stream. I'll be able to have morning and midday streams, like my 6 a.m. stream, which I'll keep doing, but I can also do like a 4-hour midday, like a lunchtime stream from like noon till 4. So I can put in 2 hours in the morning, go offline, do stuff that Phil's do when no one's looking, and then jump back on at noon, and then run a lunch stream until the end of the day, and then I get to hook back up with family and then put the art down. And then of course, on Monday nights and Thursday nights, those are stream time as well. So I'll still have those in addition to my days off. So very, very looking forward to Christmas and the winter holiday and my birthday in May are the 2 weeks that I take off every year to be a full-time developer and just to be a full-time artist, just to do stuff like this for a full solid week of just indulging in the stuff that I love to do as a celebration for myself. Okay, I'm really liking this effect. But still conceals a lot of the dragon, so I'm thinking I need to drop the opacity just a bit more, like a shitload more, like that. That feels right. I'm happy. I'm feeling pretty good about this. 7 o'clock. Whew, man, I have a whole hour to figure this out. That's awesome. Easy peasy. Barely an inconvenience. It's so sad that prestige classes take effort to develop. As Wizards is absolutely not demonstrating any interest in investing effort in mechanical development of anything in the world's greatest role-playing game. Damn shame. I also don't like this idea that this is the final version of D&D ever mentality, because that's alienating. Like, there's a lot of people that like 3E, and we've been holding out hope that's like, well, you know, maybe eventually another edition will come around and they'll get back into prestige classes. But Wizards, like, planting this flag saying 5E is the best version ever. It's just the most popular version. And they didn't really have anything to do with that popularity. It was just social circumstances that let D&D into the zeitgeist, and it became popular all of a sudden. And it's not that 5e is the best system ever. It's just the system that was there when Stranger Things and Critical Role and whatever forces conspired, COVID. It just happened to be there. It's not that 5e is just the best system ever. It's just what was here when the timing was good. And Wizards is ran by too many MBAs. I don't think they understand this thing. I honestly don't think they understand it. And that's not to insult them or anything. They're hiring a bunch of people that I don't think are actual RPG enthusiasts. They're Xbox developers, and although there are RPGs in Xbox, that's not the push of these minds that are steering the ship right now. So I think it's disappointing, but it's not our job to complain. It's our job to do. So that's what I'm doing. There's no sense to complain if I'm not willing to create a solution. So all my books are about, again, creating those solutions. And if this truly is the last version of D&D and we'll never see prestige classes again, it's a damn shame. But that is their choice to make while they're the stewards of the hobby. For good or bad. So we gotta work within the constraints that we have, and that's what design is so fun about, is taking the limitations that you have in a system and bending them to do more than what the system originally intended them to do. That is true development, and that's the art, I think, that goes into it. Like, the aesthetically pleasing presentation of new mechanical ideas that let you do more with the base mechanics that exist than what those base mechanics originally envisioned they could be used for. Which is why people buy my stuff. I could brag. I'm not gonna. Business decision is not a design decision. Yeah, definitely. But that's what artists do. They rage against the zeitgeist. They try to redefine what is shit and like what's the word? What am I trying to say? Like the term I like to use is couture design, where you're taking the familiar and you're building something very customized, very artistic, thematically, narratively, compared to what the original mechanics were intended for. So all my stuff is that couture design, where it's niche and it's meant to complement and embellish what's beautiful about 5e by taking mechanics in new directions. I think that can work. Now, here's the problem that we have. When I get rid of the black background, all that shit just disappears. So now I gotta figure out. Now I gotta find a middle ground to add that stuff back in. Boy, hey, what a challenge! All right, so how are we gonna figure this out? Something like that. This will make sense. I have a plan. Good. I hear you. I hear you. I'm working on a line. Hold on. All right. 20 more minutes. 7:15. So I technically have like 45 more minutes. So 2 more cycles. There. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to duplicate this layer. So that's how the outline looks like in black now. So I can whoop, color. And when we hit the color, we can reduce it to such, and then I screwed up. Right. Oh, that's what I need to do. Like that. Duplicate that group. Merge that group. Merge that group. So here's your black and white so far. And then, yeah. So we put this on a black background. It's got, you can see the plasma effect on that wing. I'll have to make another wing, obviously. But you got that going on, and then with the black background, you got this pixel. So you got the little wisps that are coming off. That'll be good enough. So this will be the. Actually, I need to get rid of those eyes. Oh God, I've got reds in here. Why do I have reds in here? I think I like the black and white tokens better than the color ones, because it's just defining the silhouette is just, it's such a satisfying challenge. I have discovered a new Chinese food place in Edmonds, Washington, which is between Everett and Seattle, for those that know the reference points. And Silver Dragon, man, it is just some of the best damn food I've tasted. Best Chinese food I've tasted since living in Arizona. Arizona had this place called Golden Egg Roll that was just amazing. Their pork mushu was just out of the freaking world. Super greasy spoon, Americanized Chinese food is difficult to find in Seattle because everything here is so damn authentic. It's like, can I just have some greasy Americana Chinese food? And Silver Dragon says, yes, you can. So this is Thursday. Thursday is a me day. I have my day to myself. I mean, obviously I have my day job. I mean, like bigger picture, like Phil's life. Thursday is a Phil day, so like no family obligations. All I have to do is create. Mondays and Thursday nights are Phil creation nights, and what goes along with that creative process is me eating wherever I want, and so I will be ordering Silver Dragon greasy spoon Chinese food for my dinner tonight, and I am relishing in the opportunity to do that, because I assumed I wasn't going to have any taste buds for the next few months, but the COVID blind cleared off in 3 days, so I have my full flavor palette back, so I am absolutely going to indulge in that. And it was funny, I've been fighting dropping my weight back down to 200 pounds. It was 195 before the pandemic. Over the course of 2 years and me not acclimating properly to work at home, it built back up to 245. I'm back down to 216. And I'm trying to hit myself back down to 215 by the end of the month, and then be back down to 195 for Valentine's Day. And just arbitrary objectives I set for myself. I mean, obviously, Silver Dragon is not going to help me hit my 215 mark for this month. But if I don't build in days where I don't have to worry about how I look or where I'm at, then I won't be able to appreciate the effort that I put into how I am, how I look and all that stuff. So it is a necessary evil for me to splurge on garbage food occasionally for the sanity of the machinery. But yes, I am absolutely loving that outline. And then you swap it out for, here's the color version instead. And here you can see the full manifestations of its wings on a black background. The next thing I need to do is build out a wing over here to complement what we have here. They have good soup and pizza. They have awesome soup. God, their soup is amazing. Their peanut wonton soup is out of this world. But damn it, they don't have any pizza. You're absolutely right about that. I never did get to the. I never did get the 5-star. It's called 5-star buffet. It's a 5 and then star buffet. And I never got back there to get my soup and pizza. So I ended up buying a frozen pizza and then getting sweet and sour soup from Silver Dragon. I might actually do that. I might just buy some slices of pizza from the pizza shop nearby and get some Silver Dragon soup. Oh boy, I'm gonna be a glutton today. Where are we at? Right, we want to. I'm just gonna do it this way. Yeah, my gal looks at me like I'm crazy when I talk about soup and pizza as well. But man, pizza is just such a dippable device. Like if you don't have a spoon, if you have a piece of pizza, you're good to go. Bit. I'm still waiting for Cheetos to start selling their bags with chopsticks, because that is by far the superior way to eat Cheetos, with chopsticks. Absolutely love doing that. I think I'm clever every time I do it, and we can all admit I am very clever, but. I just like eating eating Cheetos with chopsticks. I just think it's fun. Good. Gotta use the elbow with this one. Oof, that angle is rough. I've always been bad at those inverted curves. Not bad, Kearney. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Some Neon Genesis stuff right there, man. Put the target in the middle of the center the target in the circle, pull the trigger. Center the target in the circle, pull the trigger. Center the target in the circle, pull the trigger. Over and over again until you're done. Bam! I feel pretty damn good about that, so we're going to merge that down. Nice! That's our black and white. I still got 20 some odd minutes. Got 20 minutes left to do the plasma on the other wing. Whew, man, I'm very satisfied. I can tell I'm concentrating hard because I'm mouth breathing. So, come on, Kearney, evolve a little bit and keep in the game. Goddamn mouth breather. There. That's, there we go. Not bad. I'm pretty happy with this. I love the silhouette version of this. I freaking love that. But aside from, then you got the color version, and then of course when it's on a black background, we got that again. So I think I'm going to call this one done. We're at 7:45, which means I've got a few minutes for me to freshen up before my day starts. I'm going to be back on in about probably 11 hours-ish. It'll be 7 p.m. The Seattle time, which is like 10 o'clock Eastern time. It's not a big surprise I don't get a lot of audience on that night stream. But that's my time. So I'll be back on this evening doing more Eberron art. Actually, I'll go ahead and blip that down, and then blip that down, and then there, and then let's port this guy down into Dunzo's. Dunzo creatures. Sword Dragon. Space Guppy. Let's get your Space Guppy, and we got our Solar Dragon. And we got our Scavers, 4 different types of Scavers. Void, Brown, Night, Gray. No, that's Brown. That's Gray. I think the brown one's my favorite though. It's just beefy. And then we've got our Kandori that we did. And of course all of these have black and white versions as well, I love the silhouette stuff. I did not know how much I would love doing black white silhouettes of creatures. It's fun. I mean, I like the Kandori. I like the color version as well, and being able to knock these things out this quickly. I mean, obviously it's not the level of detail I have for like the Scaver Riders, but just as like little one-off add-on tokens to have, they're good enough, man. They're good enough. So I am just stoked where we are at right now. And where are we at right now? Hold on. Let me go down here into the document, playlist, development, document link through my Patreon. So here's my Patreon. And then playtest document. Here's the stream that we're on right now. Here is the master document that we've been working on for all the in-command mechanic stuff, including squads, armies, Infernal, War Machine, vehicle mechanics, and Spelljammer shit. As well as the guilds and kingdoms. So all that stuff is in here. Like, it is a 180 some odd page monster document. Yeah. Once Spelljammer Command and Combat and Exploration publishes, we will we'll literally cut that piece out of this document, and instead be able to provide you with the PDF for you to view cover to cover at no cost. And then, so right now I'm going up here to boop, boop, boop. So we did Space Guppies, we have Solar Dragons, we have Scavengers. Murder Comets are next. Oh my god, Murder Comets. How much fun is that? Murder Comets, and then Megapedes, and then Lunar Dragons. We already have the Kandori. 1, 2, 3. Then the Aesthetic and the Cosmic Horror. So that's 5 more. That's 5 more tokens that we need to build, and then we'll be done with all the independently mobile creatures in wild space. So again, this document's it's available for you here to look at, just like I am now. So you guys, I mean, a lot of these rules are no longer, you know, they're out of date. Like these mechanics aren't the cutting edge of where we're at right now. So like the combat movement is different for the creatures, and like the action economies that they take have changed a little bit. But as far as like a rough draft alpha document for you guys to get the idea of how this thing rolls, this is good enough for now. So the whole thing will be available for you soon enough. So, but yeah, when we come back, we'll be working on Murder Comets. That'll be tomorrow morning, 22 hours from now-ish. Well, more like 21 and a half hours from now. Anyway, that's it for the day. So I'm going to cut out of here. We're going to come back with Murder Comets tomorrow morning. I will be back on in about 11 hours. I'll be back on in 11 hours. And we're going to continue our, hold on real quick. Murder Comets, there. I'm gonna shut this down, and I'll just show you the finished map that we did for the topside entrance. Since a lot of people plugged in with that. Oops. Art, Act 2, Region 4, topside entrance, and bam! There you go. That's the finished map for that. I mean, there's the tokens that we haven't built yet, but we'll build the tokens because the same tokens will be here as they are on the fortress. But yeah, this is the map that we've been building, and again, it has the same basic language. If you zoom in a little bit, it's pretty easy to see what's going on there. But this is probably decent. This is probably close enough. This is the scale that I'm normally at. Like we're doing 5-foot scale combat. We got creatures here and here. You can pan out a bit, obviously, but it looks. I think the color signatures here for these pillars and walls are distinguished enough from the ground, and all this should be reading pretty easily. So, but yeah, there's that, and then just to remind ourselves, this is what the flooded fort looks like. Pop, using the same language. The underground tunnel that leads down to Act 3, and then here's the cemetery that we'll be working on tonight. Hold on. So this is the cemetery that we're starting with. We need to finish up the grid over here. But yeah, this is we have to clean up the line art for the whole thing. Like we have to do the whole thing. But yeah, this is a decent map. Like here's all the different locations on it, and inside this crypt here, there's more specific entrances. There's like a hidden passage over here that will lead down into Act 3. And there's a hidden passage here as well underneath this gazebo. That's a trick, like a puzzle. If you figure it out, you can open up a secret door that leads down there. So if you want to have an exploration-focused exploration-focused map, you can lead them to this gazebo with the puzzle trap that opens up to get access. And if you want to do a more combat-focused path, you can lead them into this crypt and fight the creatures that are in the sarcophagi. And once you wade through all those enemies, then you can find the trap door that's propped open with a dead guy in it who already got killed by all the skeletons. But the path goes from here this way to the topside entrance number 4. So the tunnel here and here are the same tunnel. It's just a matter of, do you want to have access to it through combat, or do you want to have access to it through exploration? Or if you run across soldiers that are in here that are like patrolling to make sure no undead are coming up, and like these are dug up graves. So like creatures, and like this one's flooded. Like some of these haven't been opened. Which ones haven't opened? Almost all of these have opened. I think all of them are open. It's like you run across undead in the forest between here and the beginning of the adventure, and this is where they're coming from. This graveyard, like it's like just the Walking Dead just rise because of Muvar. And then you have crypts here with shades in them, and then these are statue pillars with fallen heroes, and then the cobblestone pathway that leads to the crypt, and then you've got a Death Knight in here. And some shades, and then skeletons that have risen from their graves here and have come in here to pay homage to their master. That's in this sarcophagi here. So if you just want to do a dungeon tear up, you can just run through here and shred stuff. And anyway, so this is what we'll be working on tonight. And it's obviously it's a very detailed piece, so it's going to take us a while. But that's our next piece to conquer. So that's where we're at. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to see you guys on the other side. So if you're new here, hey, I build adventures and supplements. And thanks a lot for showing up. Like and subscribe. Tag along with me. And we'll release this stuff on the DMs Guild. And once we do, we'll do like an official walkthrough of it. Cover to cover. So I will see you guys on the other side. I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot.